Yo, video number 4 on how to make Madden 19 the best game possible. This is Lights, and for this video I am going to talk about the defensive side of the ball, and most specifically man defense. So for man defense, for the last couple years, it's hit or miss on, is it the most effective pass defense? Is it not effective at all? Is it good but not great? Can you mix it in? I would say the biggest thing that needs to be addressed when it comes to man defense is shading. Shading. If that gets changed, then I think that man defense will be a lot more fun to call, be a lot more strategy involved, and that's what I'm looking at, as far as making the game more fun and competitive. So with man and the shading, there are ways, like if you shade outside, then yeah, it's going to play a little differently than if you don't shade outside. If you shade up, man defense will play a little bit differently. If you shade down underneath coverage, man defense will play a little different. Same thing with inside shade, but it doesn't really work like it should. Like, I feel like outside shade right now works so much better than inside shade, even when stopping inside routes, which makes no sense. I think the way that this game should be played is that if you put a command in, right, we have the tool to shade our defenders to the outside. If we shade our defenders to the outside, then they should play outside routes tremendously better than if you don't shade outside. So say bench is coming out of deuce close, and it's 2 out routes and 2 corner routes. All 4 of those routes are attacking outside. If you play man coverage and you shade outside, all 4 of those routes should be boxed, as long as the defenders that you have that are in man coverage are actually pretty good man defenders, right? It could be a ratings thing. And that's another thing I want to talk about, is that it shouldn't be threshold based. This game, I think threshold based stuff is actually, made the game not as good as it should have been with the 91 zone and stuff like that. I think it should be ratings based, and it should be your specific rating versus your opponent's specific rating, and try to do that as much as possible with every single category. So for man coverage, it would be receivers route running, right? So if you have, let's say, there's less than 10-point difference between your man coverage and their route running. I'm just putting numbers right now out of the top of my head. That these numbers could change. Say it's 10 or say it's 5. Say you're 5 points or 10 points different than your opponent's route running. If it's not more than that, then if you shade outside, it will stop the outside routes. Where if it's way less, like say you have a 75-man corner facing a 95 route runner, no matter which way you shade, he's not going to guard him, no matter what. If you shade outside and the 95 route runner is on a corner route, he's still going to beat him on a corner route. But if he's 85 man and your opponent has 92 route running and you shade outside, since you put in the right, you shaded the right way and he's going outside, he should play him. That's my opinion. It doesn't have to be 10 points, it could be 5 points difference. And then if you're way better of a man defender, say you're 95-man defensive player, and they have a really bad receiver that's fast, because that's like the meta, especially on salary cap, is you want a fast guy who's not a lot of cap, means probably he doesn't have high route run. Say he has 74 route run, and he's on a corner. Even if you don't outside shade, if you have 95-man or something way higher, he should just box the route. It's to the point where if you have that high man coverage against someone that has no route run, every route should be just guarded really, really good. So I think it should be ratings based. When it comes to this man coverage, it should be route run versus man coverage, which it kind of already is, but it should be accelerated, especially with the shading. If you shade inside, slants, in routes, posts, they all should be guarded so much more better than it is now. I mean, it should be very apparent that you shaded inside. You know what I mean? If everything else that's not inside routes gets open, that is what it is intended to happen. Like if they're in bench and you shade inside, all 4 of those routes should be open, unless again you have goon man defenders. Then if you're facing someone that's not a high route runner, maybe still you guard it because you have the best man defenders on your MUT team, or you're a highly man defensive team like the Broncos, and you're facing a bunch of no route running receivers. Then that might not matter which way you shade. But again, if you shade underneath, then yeah, if they go vertical on you, you better have help over the top. If not, and they drag or something like that, an out route to the running back, that should be always guarded if you're doing underneath coverage. Whereas over the top coverage, anything maybe above 25 yards, if it's anything deep, would be guarded when you do that, as long as you have the stats on defense. So just something that I think should be, common sense. If you shade outside, it should be exaggerated. No one could complain if you shade outside and they get hit with a slant for a touchdown in a cover one. Too bad. Like, you guessed wrong. You shaded wrong. But if you know a corner route is coming and you shade outside and they hit you with that corner route, that C route, that smart routed out route, that is terrible. Terrible. That should not happen. If you put in the right input, if you know what's coming and you make that adjustment, you should be rewarded, as long as your person that you just made that adjustment to, or the team you made that adjustment to, is not really, really poor, not really bad. Like, if you have 60 man coverage and you shade outside, you shouldn't probably stop them even if you guessed right, because you still need to have the personnel to run whatever scheme. If you have a bunch of 70 or lower man corners, don't run man. Simple as that. More than likely those guys are better in zone. Run your personnel based on zone. But if you have a whole bunch of man defenders out there, then you want to call man coverage, you want to shade, you know that a post is coming and you want that route to be guarded, then you shade inside. That route should be guarded as long as that man defender is close or higher man coverage than his route running. That should definitely be a thing. I think this should be 100% in Madden 19. Please, I can't see anyone that would not be okay with this. I feel like everyone's going to be like, yeah, this is how it should be. Because how can you complain if you shade inside and they hit you with an out route? That's strategy. Like, that's okay. Next time, if I know what's coming and I guess right, I should be rewarded for that. So that's pretty much what I'm making the focal point of this, is shading. And that was shading in man coverage. I could talk about briefly shading in zone coverage. I think that, again, the tools, the variety, the different variables you could have on both offense and defense is big. So, like, let's say you play cover 3 and you shade outside, right? Shade outside should be different than shade inside in zone too, not just man. So, like say it could go really this specific to where it's like, okay, a hard flat. Is there a difference between a hard flat shaded outside than a hard flat shaded inside? Or a cloud flat? If you shade outside on a cloud flat, he's going to play a little deeper than if you shade inside on a cloud flat, or shade down on a cloud flat. Or like a hook zone. It kind of already is in the game. If you shade up, then he's going to play much deeper than if you shade down. He plays the down routes. He plays drags and things like that. But what if you shade outside on a hook zone? So you're doing a global outside shade. The routes outside should be stopped much better than if you did an inside shade. Even applied to zone. I don't think it should be applied just to man coverage. I think if you do that, I think it'll be way less likely there'll be overpowered money plays, because when you know something's coming, you can make the proper adjustment. So that is huge when it comes to shading. If you know a smart routed out route is coming and you're in man, and you shade outside, even if you're an off coverage man, you shade outside and you have decent man defenders, that should be guarded. That's how I'm going to end the video, guys. I hope you guys agree with me, because I really want to fight for this. I think this should be in Madden 19, without a doubt. If you don't agree with this, please let me know, because I'm not sure why you wouldn't agree with it. Please like the video even if you don't agree. If you do agree, like the video twice. Get on a different account and like it. Subscribe if you're new. Let me know your feedback and your input on Madden 19, especially when it comes to this topic. I'll see you guys in the next video. It's Lights. Later.